Hello guys, and welcome back to youtube.com/BradleyHallGuitar. Now, this is going to be a very different, special video to what I usually do. I thought I'd slam the brakes on, slow down for a second, and just take a moment to just chill with you guys. Just you and me, your old pal Bidley, just shooting the shit like a couple of young old doodads. First and foremost, I'd just like to say an absolutely humongous chungus dungus thank you to each and every one of you out there who watch my content week after week and endure and even enjoy somehow my questionable antics.
So I have to stall and stall now.
So I left my job in January to pursue YouTube full-time. I'm super happy with the decision and how things are planning out. The channel's going through some, pretty good steady growth. So I just hope, touch wood, that things continue down this lovely path that we're on right now. Right, enough of that waffling. Now it's time to just bring the energy down a little bit for some more waffling in the form of a Q&A. So I'm just gonna grab my chair. Alrighty, so I put up a YouTube community post on my channel a few weeks ago. So I just took some of the most, interesting or amusing questions off there, and I'm gonna answer them right now. Who is your favorite guitarist? Okay, starting off with a nice, simple, obvious one for those of you who are maybe new to the channel or don't know much about me. I know for a fact that if I try to name all of my favorite guitarists right now on the spot, I will probably forget half of them, so I'm just gonna point up here and write them down in post-production. There we go. How educated are you in music theory? It seems like you have a good grasp of it in capturing other bands' style and sight reading. I would say my music theory knowledge is above average, but not expert level. I know enough to get by and have a decent understanding of most popular music, but like advanced jazz and classical concepts, like Adam Neely level stuff, that's beyond me. In terms of sight reading, yeah, I would say I'm very good at sight reading. I spent a lot of time staring at a computer screen reading tab, so yeah, I can read guitar tab very fast. My boy Grocky here asking, what has been your musical experience? Past bands, old clips of you playing, learning theory, past originals, whatever you'd like to answer about the whole history of music. God, well, to be honest, I don't want to bore you to tears because it's it's not really that extensive and it's not really that interesting, I'm afraid. Okay, so brief rundown. I started playing violin around the age of 7, maybe, and then I went to secondary school, or high school, you call it in America. Got bored of classical stuff and was like, yeah, I want to play fucking electric guitar, mate, because that's well cool. So yeah, the combination of being, just pre-adolescence and the explosion of nu metal, which was happening at the time, yeah, maybe jump ship from violin to guitar. In terms of guitar tuition, I had lessons for the first 2 years of playing guitar, and I quickly outgrew my instructors because I was just practicing non-stop, every day, all day. I was super into it, and then I just started teaching myself, really. I think the cool thing about teaching yourself is when you listen to a lot of music and you learn songs by ear, and you sort of you learn these concepts, whether it's scales, arpeggios, or some other sort of theory, then later down the line, if you have some sort of more formal tuition, or if you're looking up some books or articles online, and then you'll see the names of the stuff that you've picked up by ear, and you're like, so there's actually a proper name for this. It's not just some sort of abstract concept in my head. In terms of bands, I was in a thrash metal band with my school buddies for a long time. I'll drop some links below in the description for you to check out. We had 2 little releases on Bandcamp, super bad recording quality, but I think the songs are pretty good. It's some fun, wacky thrash metal, I don't know, Anthrax crossed with DRI, crossed with Cacophony, crossed with Mr. Bungle. That's probably the best way to describe it. But after that, I was just sort of wandering the wastelands of musicianship, going from one project to the next, not really sort of knowing what to do. I get the feeling many of you are in that boat, and I know how frustrating it could be. I toyed with the idea of being a session musician, start my own band, joining other bands, making solo music, composing, transcribing. I tried everything, you name it, I tried it. And it wasn't until, how long ago, 2.5 years ago now, I guess, or so, maybe 3 years, that I started messing about with videos, and I found yeah, this is it. Yeah, this is what really clicks and what motivates me. Because honestly, if it didn't work with videos, then God knows what I'd be doing. No idea. So yeah, don't worry if you're in the same sort of position where you're in a musical limbo. Just keep trying things, throwing darts at the dartboard. Eventually, in a matter of time, something will click. Some people are lucky and they find that right away, and other people like me, it takes a long time to find. Mr. Arno V himself asking, you left your job to focus on YouTube. What's good? What's bad? So what's good? Obviously not having to get up at a fixed time in the morning, because I'm very undisciplined when it comes to sleep. Honestly, just all of the extra time that's opened up is just, it's invaluable. You know, people always focus on just the money, but you know, as they say, time is money, to quote that old cliche, but it's so true. In terms of what's bad, I'm definitely a workaholic, so it can be really hard to just drag myself away from the computer sometimes and do something else, because it's really easy just to get stuck down the rabbit hole and just spend every waking hour, you know, on your channel. But it's not healthy, you shouldn't do that. How did you get the idea for the 5-minute challenge? I absolutely love these. Awesome, thank you. So this idea came from watching Herman Lee stream. He did like these little song challenges with Sam Topman, his bandmate, where they would just try and write the song on stream in the style of a band. Obviously they used a lot longer than 5 minutes, but they did it in like a really like funny, non-try-hard way, which really appealed to me. I found it very funny. So I just took that idea to an extreme to just try and capture the essence of a band in a really crappy song in just 5 minutes. Not a question, but I've always been curious about the meaning of your tattoos. Oh yeah, so I get these sort of questions a lot. So I might as well just explain them once and for all. I love really simple designs, like symbols and iconography and stuff. I'm not really into the idea of having like a big colourful sleeve. Yeah, so this one is like a H.P. Lovecraft symbol. This is the Hanged Man, like a tarot card symbol. This is from the 90s TV show Twin Peaks. This is from a David Lynch film called Inland Empire, my favourite film. These two, I can't remember exactly what they are. I think this is like a Aleister Crowley one. And this, I think it's a John Dee symbol. I just really like occult imagery, like this sort of stuff. Really gets me going, gets me juicy. This one here, it's just the astrological symbol for the planets in our solar system, nice and easy. How did you get that really bright, cheesy and overly happy major sound like 90s string theatre? So the key to sounding like John Petrucci is the Mixolydian flat 6 scale. I'll give you a quick demo now. So the Mixolydian scale is just a major scale, but with the 7th degree flattened. So instead of, say, A major, A Mixolydian is, and a Mixolydian flat 6 is that scale, but with the 6th degree lowered one. Okay. By itself, it sounds a bit weird. And actually, this is the same for all modes. You know, in isolation, they sound, you know, they don't sound like anything. It's all about like how you apply them. So when you hear this sort of chord progression, this is when you want to use Mixolydian flat 6. What you do, when you hear this sort of chord progression, you would play like A major normally over the A. And then when you go to the D minor, this is when you switch to Mixolydian flat 6. Because, if you'll notice, you've got the minor third of D minor is F, which is the flat 6 of the A major scale. Yeah? So I'm just going to play like a little improvised solo, sort of following those chords. What I want you to do is just think about that chord change in your head and try and listen where the chords change. Stumbled a bit at the end there, but hopefully you can hear those changes. Mixolydian flat 6. Right then, Mike Friedman has said before he was inspired by lots of East Asian music, like the Japanese stuff. What type of music has had the most influence in your playing, be it genre or country's traditional stuff? Ooh. I would say that like 90s and early 2000s pop music has definitely had a big impact on me, because what you find is that the music that you listened to while you were growing up is like deeply ingrained in you forever. Like you can't really shake that. Unlike a lot of contemporary pop music back then, without sounding like, you know, back in my day, was actually quite melodic and like harmonically interesting. So all of these like songs that are deeply ingrained in here, all these like fun little melodies and stuff, they come out quite often in my playing, and it's definitely helped my phrasing, because sometimes I'll be improvising over a chord progression and I'll think, oh, that chord progression sounds kind of like this old song that I used to listen to when I was a kid. And then the melody from that song sort of subconsciously seeps out into my fingers. So yeah, I think it's interesting how that happens. What is an artist slash band that everyone loves but you can't stand? So I guess we'll just stick to the realm of like metal here. My top pick is always going to be Tool. I love prog music, but I just think their songs are just like unnecessarily long for the sake of it. I don't smoke the marijuanas or do any hallucinogens in my recreational time, so maybe that's why. Also, maybe a slightly controversial pick here, but I've never gotten into the band Death either. I really appreciate Chuck's vocals. I think they're like, his vocals are some of the best in metal, like hands down. But as a general songwriter, I do not rate him at all. Like, their songs are all over the place, man, Jesus Christ. Like, tempo changes like every 4 bars, just like so much stopping and starting. Proggy sections that just sound like awkward for the sake of being a bit like weird. I do like the song Crystal Mountain though, that is a good song, very good song. Would you prefer to be in a successful band or continue making videos, assuming same income for both? Ooh, great question. To be honest, I've been thinking about this a lot recently, especially. To play in an originals band now, and to go touring and stuff, you know, it would have to be, you know, like a really established band that I was super into, and I would be willing to just, you know, drop everything. But as far as my own original stuff goes, nah, like, to make an originals band work in the current music industry, it's just, it just requires an insurmountable amount of work. You know, everybody in the band has to be like really, really committed and into it. And like, ideally, they all need to have like their own skill set. You need like a graphic designer in the band, you need a social media person, you need a videographer, ideally, as well as writing solid songs like regularly. And to be honest, I'm just not that bothered. You know, it's enough for me just to like write an original song once in a while, that's fine. But I just really, really enjoy making videos, and it would take something extraordinary, really, to sort of drag me away from that. To do something else. What do you like to watch on YouTube? Which channels and what type of content? Well, my favorite YouTube channel ever is Red Letter Media. I think those guys are fucking hilarious. Obviously, all the music and guitar stuff, like to keep up to date. Yeah, but to be honest, I'm not actually subbed to that many channels. The majority of what I watch is probably just random shit that gets recommended to me. And you know how it is. You click on one recommended video and then you go down some like rabbit hole that lasts for hours, and you end up watching a video of some like gorilla in a dress dancing to Gangnam Style on a surfboard. What is your favourite guitar tone ever recorded? Mine's the Cliffs of Dover live in Austin tone. Oh yeah, that is sexy. I'm not sure really, to be honest, I'm not that much of a stickler for guitar tones. Unless it's unlistenable, I don't really care too much. For example, you know, my favourite guitarist ever, Marty Friedman, he has an awful tone. His lead tone is horrible. It's way too mid-heavy and like oversaturated, but I don't care, like, because what he plays just makes you forget about that. So yeah, I don't really care too much about tone. That's probably why mine's bad. When you're recording these silly segments, do you ever take a step back, look at the video and wonder, what has your life come to? Oh yeah, all the time, after every video. Is your bean consumption strictly for its fiber, or are you a witch or vegan? My bean consumption is strictly necessary. Well guys, I think that is quite enough for today. Thank you so much for chilling with me, taking the time to just, you know, doing this. Humongous thank you again for making this Hairy Brit the happiest Hairy Brit in this room, and quite probably beyond. Please do take care out there in these trying times, and see ya very soon.